Today we are going to talk about etiology of trigeminal neuralgia. So let's begin with the etiology of trigeminal neuralgia. So the etiology of the trigeminal neuralgia is unknown. That's why trigeminal neuralgia is considered as idiopathic disease. So when we talk about etiology of trigeminal neuralgia, when we talk about the etiology of the trigeminal neuralgia, so the etiology of the trigeminal neuralgia is not known. That's why trigeminal neuralgia is considered as idiopathic disease. Etiology is unknown. That's why trigeminal neuralgia is considered as idiopathic disease. So the etiology of the trigeminal neuralgia is not known. That's why trigeminal neuralgia is considered as the idiopathic disease. Now, there are certain probable etiological factors that precipitate the trigeminal neuralgia. So I would like to discuss these probable etiological factors under two conditions. So let's begin with the condition number 1. So there are basically certain probable etiological factors that precipitate the trigeminal neuralgia. So when we talk about those etiological factors, so I would like to discuss those etiological factors under two conditions. Condition number 1 and condition number 2. So let's begin with the condition number 1. So first is a condition 1. So when we talk about the condition number 1, so what happened in condition number 1? Benign tumor or vascular anomalies. So what happened? These benign tumor and vascular anomalies, causes compression of trigeminal root. So these benign tumor and vascular anomalies causes compression of trigeminal root. So what happened? Benign tumor and vascular anomalies causes compression of the trigeminal root. Now what happened? If there is a compression occur in the trigeminal root, this compression cause the demyelination of the trigeminal root. So it ultimately cause demyelination. Of trigeminal root, and this is basically the sensory root of the trigeminal nerve. So cause the demyelination of trigeminal root. Now if this demyelination occur in the trigeminal root, this demyelination ultimately cause injury to trigeminal root, because demyelination is actually a type of injury. So demyelination of the trigeminal root cause injury to trigeminal root. So it cause injury to trigeminal root. So First one is what happened? Benign tumor or vascular anomalies. Either the benign tumor and vascular anomalies cause compression of the trigeminal root. Now this compression of the trigeminal root cause demyelination of the trigeminal root, which ultimately cause injury to trigeminal root. Now after that what happened? If these compression of the trigeminal root occur, which ultimately cause the injury of trigeminal root, this clinical condition produces symptoms which is clinically indistinguishable from the trigeminal neuralgia. What does it mean? It means if there is a compression take place in the trigeminal root, and this compression which take place in the trigeminal root ultimately cause injury to trigeminal root, this condition produce clinical symptoms, and these clinical symptoms is clinically indistinguishable from the symptoms of trigeminal neuralgia. What does it mean? It means this statement implies that any factors that cause the compression of the trigeminal root and ultimately cause the injury of trigeminal root precipitate the trigeminal neuralgia. It means this statement implies that, so we can say that So what happens if any benign tumor or vascular anomalies occur? These benign tumor and vascular anomalies cause compression of trigeminal root, and this compression of the trigeminal root cause demyelination of the trigeminal root, and demyelination of trigeminal root ultimately cause injury to trigeminal root. Now this injury, if this injury occur in trigeminal root, so what happen? It produces the clinical symptoms that is clinically indistinguishable from the symptoms of trigeminal neuralgia. So this implies that any factors that cause compression and ultimately injury to trigeminal root produce trigeminal neuralgia. It means any factors which is associated with the compression of trigeminal root and ultimately this compression cause injury to trigeminal root, those factor is actually responsible for the trigeminal neuralgia. So any factors basically that cause compression of trigeminal root and ultimately cause demyelination of the trigeminal root is responsible for trigeminal neuralgia. So this is the first condition. Now after that, when we talk about the condition number 2, so let's begin with the condition number 2, or let's talk about the condition number 2. So in condition number 2, basically there are two factors. First is a vascular factor and second is a mechanical factor. So when we talk about condition number 2, so there are two factors in condition number 2. So when we talk about the condition number 2, so there are two factors. So there are two factors. First is a vascular factor. And second is a mechanical factor. So in condition number 2, there are two factors. First one is a vascular factor and second one is a mechanical factor. Now, what happens in vascular factor? There are two conditions. In vascular factor, there are two conditions. When we talk about the condition number 1, it is transient ischemia. Transient ischemia and autoimmune hypersensitivity response. And when we talk about the second condition, so second condition is in vascular factor. When we talk about the second condition, the second condition is anomalies of superior cerebellar artery. So there are two conditions under the vascular factor. Now when we talk about these two conditions, so basically what happens, transient ischemia and autoimmune hypersensitivity response. These conditions initially cause demyelination of the nerve root. So this condition cause what? This condition cause demyelination. Demyelination of nerve root, and demyelination of nerve root ultimately cause injury. To nerve root, and injury to nerve root ultimately precipitate trigeminal neuralgia. So precipitate trigeminal neuralgia. So what happened initially, there is demyelination of the nerve root, and this demyelination of the nerve root cause injury to nerve root, and injury to nerve root finally precipitate trigeminal neuralgia. So basically what happened, any transient ischemia and autoimmune hypersensitivity response causes demyelination of nerve root, and which ultimately cause injury to nerve root and finally precipitate trigeminal neuralgia. Now when we talk about the anomalies of superior cerebellar artery, so these superior cerebellar artery anomalies is a most common and recent culprit of the trigeminal neuralgia. So any anomalies of the superior cerebellar artery also cause what? Also cause demyelination of nerve root, and this demyelination of the nerve root ultimately cause injury to nerve root, which finally precipitate the trigeminal neuralgia. So this is all about the vascular factor. In vascular factor, there are two conditions. First is the transient ischemia, and second one is anomalies of superior cerebellar artery. Both these conditions initially cause demyelination of the nerve root, and demyelination of the nerve root finally cause injury to the nerve root, and which ultimately precipitate the trigeminal neuralgia. So this is all about the vascular factor. Now when we talk about the mechanical factor, so what happens in mechanical factor? So when we talk about the mechanical factor, so what happens in mechanical factor? The intrapetrous part of the internal carotid artery, the intrapetrous part of internal carotid artery. So what happens in mechanical factor? The intrapetrous part of the internal carotid artery, what happens? There is an aneurysm occur in the intrapetrous part of the internal carotid artery. The intrapetrous part of the internal carotid artery is associated with what? Associated with the pathological condition known as aneurysm. So it is associated with aneurysm. Now, if the aneurysm is associated with the intrapetrous part of the internal carotid artery, what happens? There is an increased pressure in the internal carotid artery. The pressure of the internal carotid artery increases, and if the pressure of the internal carotid artery increases, there is a dilatation of the internal carotid artery, or we can say that there is an increased diameter of the internal carotid artery. So aneurysm causes increased pressure. So what happens? Aneurysm causes pressure, or this pressure is basically increases. Now what happens if the pressure is increases and there is a increase in diameter of the internal carotid artery? What happens? Internal carotid artery surface eroded by the internal cranial fossa. So what happens? Intracranial fossa. So what happens if the pressure of the internal carotid artery increases? So these increase in internal carotid artery cause erode surface by intracranial fossa. Intracranial fossa. Now if the surface of the artery is eroded by intracranial fossa, what happens? There is a pulsatile irritation take place, and this pulsatile irritation basically act on the ventral side of the trigeminal ganglion. So these erode surface of the artery, which is caused by the intracranial fossa, surface of the intracranial fossa cause what? Cause the pulsatile irritation on the ventral side of the trigeminal ganglion. So it causes pulsatile irritation. And this pulsatile irritation, which occur on the ventral side of the trigeminal ganglion, finally precipitate trigeminal neuralgia. So these ultimately precipitate trigeminal neuralgia. So what happened? In mechanical factor, the intrapetrous part of the internal carotid artery is associated with the pathological condition known as aneurysm. Aneurysm causes increase in pressure of internal carotid artery. If the pressure of the internal carotid artery increases, there is increase in diameter of the internal carotid artery. This cause what happen? This cause another pathological condition in which what happen? The surface of the internal carotid artery erode by the intracranial fossa. So erode surface, basically the internal carotid artery erode surface is formed by the intracranial fossa, by the surface of intracranial fossa. Now if there is a erosion occurred in the surface of internal carotid artery, these cause the pulsatile irritation on the ventral side of the trigeminal ganglion, and if there is any pulsatile irritation occurred on the ventral side of trigeminal ganglion, these ultimately precipitate the trigeminal neuralgia. So this is all about the second condition. Now in this condition there are this condition, that is condition number 1 and condition number 2, basically demonstrate there are certain probable etiological factors that precipitate the trigeminal neuralgia. Now after that there are certain known probable etiological factors that precipitate the trigeminal neuralgia. So let's talk about that known probable etiological factors. So here is a probable etiological factors. So when we talk about the probable etiological factor, first one is a dental etiology. First one is dental etiology. Second one is infections. Now this infection may be granulomatous infection and non-granulomatous infection. So this infection is basically either granulomatous infection or non-granulomatous infection. So this is the second probable etiological factor. Now after that, when we talk about the third probable etiological factor, so third one is the Ratner's jawbone cavity. Fourth one is multiple sclerosis. Fifth one is petrous ridge compression. This petrous ridge compression is also known as basilar ridge compression. Now after the petrous ridge compression, next one is a sixth one, and sixth one is a post-traumatic neuralgia. So sixth one is post-traumatic. When we talk about the seventh one, so seventh one is the vascular, or we can say that intracranial vascular abnormalities. Intracranial vascular abnormalities. So when we talk about the probable etiological factors, so first one is the dental etiology, second one is the infection. These infection may be granulomatous infection or non-granulomatous infection. Third one is the Ratner's jaw bone cavity. Fourth one is a multiple sclerosis. Fifth one is a petrous ridge compression, which is also known as basilar compression. Sixth one is a post-traumatic neuralgia. Seventh one is intracranial vascular abnormalities. Now after that, when we talk about the eighth one, so after that, when we talk about the eight etiological, probable etiological factors, so it is the intracranial tumor. Intracranial tumors. And these intracranial tumors include epidermoid tumor, then meningeal So when we talk about the intracranial tumor, it includes the epidermoid tumor, meningiomas of cerebellopontine angle and Meckel's cave and arteriovenous malformation, etc. So these are the some pathological conditions which comes under the intracranial tumor. Now after that, the ninth one is the viral etiology. So ninth one is viral etiology. And viral etiology include post-herpetic neuralgia. So it includes viral etiology. When we talk about the viral etiology, it includes post-herpetic neuralgia. Post-herpetic neuralgia. So this is the 9 probable etiological factor that precipitate the trigeminal neuralgia. When we recapitulate these 9 probable etiological factors, the first one is the dental etiology. Second one is the infection. These infection may be granulomatous infection or non-granulomatous infection. Third one is the Ratner's jaw bone cavity. Fourth one is the multiple sclerosis. Fifth one is the petrous ridge compression, which is also known as basilar compression. Then sixth one is the intracranial vascular abnormality. Then seventh one is post-traumatic neuralgia. Eighth one is the intracranial tumor, and ninth one is the viral etiology, which includes the post-herpetic neuralgia. So this is all about the etiology of the trigeminal neuralgia. Thank you.